is social media really that important in my marketing? Okay, this seems like a no-brainer. People automatically say yes, or I know people who actually say no. And my answer is yes. That's the simple answer. The more detailed answer to that is yes, it is important because social media, and you've probably heard me say this before if you've taken one of my classes, is that is where your customers and your clients are hanging out. And whether you have an online business or an offline business or a hybrid business, you really need to incorporate social media into your marketing strategy. And that also includes businesses that are B2B. That means you are focused on other businesses. Those are primarily your clients. So it's really important not to have social media be kind of like the stepchild that it's often, I think, seen as, or this thing that's going to just go away. Because if you really think about how technology has evolved, it's evolved, before people used to send letters to one another, right? And now it's email, or it's not even email, it's like through social platforms. So that's just going to evolve. So if in your business you're stuck in, okay, I don't want to do the social media thing, I think it's going to go away, unfortunately, I'm sorry to break the news to you, it's actually just going to keep on evolving, and you're going to just miss out on opportunities to connect with your potential clients, your potential customers, people who are interested in buying from you, people who are interested in doing business from you, because people are expecting you now to be using social media. So really, that's something to really think about. If you are thinking like, is this really important? Should this really be part of my budget? And the answer is yes. Make it a part of your budget. And if you just want to look at examples like in the past Super Bowl, there were companies like Pepsi who actually pulled out their ads in the Super Bowl because they put that money, funneled that money into their into the social media. And that's where they put that money. And you don't have money like Pepsi, at least not yet. However, even as a small business, the beauty about social media is that everyone can get into this game, right? Everyone, if you have a laptop, if you have on your laptop, you have some kind of like a webcam or whatever it is, or a flip, you really can get into the social media game and compete. And the truth is, you're not competing against Pepsi unless you're selling some kind of soda. You're not competing against Pepsi. And you have to really start thinking, okay, my competitors or the people who are in my niche aren't doing these things, right? Or the people who are doing it are not doing it effectively. So it's really, really important to realize that. And social media itself has a lot of different categories. Like there are the social platforms, but then there are, what I mean about categories, a little branches of social media. So it's really important to realize that those branches include social networks. It also includes your website. It also includes your email marketing. It also includes what you're doing in your store if you have an offline business. So it's actually not just on the web, because in order to have a complete picture for your business in social media, you really need to incorporate all those different elements. So that's question number one. So question number two is, how do I measure social media for my business? I get this question a lot because a lot of people don't actually believe they can measure social media. And I would say several years ago, this would be the case. Everyone was kind of struggling to see how they can measure social media. Is it working? Is it not working? And actually, there's so many ways that you can measure, and so many tools available that are actually, most of them are free, that allow you to measure your social media. For example, one of the things I talk to people about using is Hootsuite. And if you're using Hootsuite to plan out your social activities, meaning like your social updates, Hootsuite actually gives you a report on how those social activities have done. So that's like really almost like the bare basic minimum way of how you can really measure your social media. And if you are looking to measure social media, that's one tool. In Facebook, there's Facebook Insights. So if a lot of people, what they don't do is that they don't go into these different measurement tools on a regular basis. So if you go on the Therese Squared blog, there was actually a video tutorial that I did specifically on Facebook Insights because there recently was a lot of changes made to Facebook Insights. So that gives you a little peek into Facebook Insight. Actually, it's more than a peek. I give a really nice overview. And in my Facebook results program, I go more into depth into how you can use those insights to grow your business. But if you just want an overview of like what this stuff means, because that's the thing that can be confusing. What does this stuff mean? There's a not a long video. It's under about 10 minutes, I think, just about how to use Facebook Insights, and that's on the blog. And so between, if you're primarily using Facebook and Twitter, which is what a lot of businesses are using, you already have tools available to measure your social media, right? It's about actually putting it in your schedule to check it on an ongoing basis. So if you are not checking it, let's say on a weekly or at least a bi-weekly basis, you won't be able to see the progression, and you won't be able to also make any tweaks, because one of the things in measuring social media is that you have to be able to make those tweaks, because that's how you'll know whether it's working or not. It's like literally, let's say you are going on a diet, right? Let's say you are like, okay, I need to lose X amount, 15 pounds. That's what I want to lose. Most people, what they do, if they plan on going to the gym or doing yoga, running, whatever it is that you plan on doing in order to lose that weight, most people measure how they're doing on a weekly basis, right? They see, okay, how many pounds did I lose this week? All right, I lost 1 pound. Okay, next week, how many pounds did I lose? I lost 2 pounds. And then they ask themselves, is there something that I did differently this week from last week? And based on that, they said, oh, okay, I realized this week I ate less of starches, right? Oh, I guess that's working for my particular body. So a lot of people, they never look at their insights. They never look at their data, their social data, and then they want to measure it 6 months later when you haven't collected the data. Okay, the data could actually be collected, but what you haven't done is the important step of tweaking, because that's how you will really know what's working versus what's not working. So if you're not tweaking and you're just like, okay, I'm just going to collect 6 months of data and I'm not going to even check, okay, how are my updates doing? Are people engaging? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You actually are not accurately measuring your social media activities. So that's question number 2. And of course, if you guys have any questions while I am going through this webinar, feel free to type in your questions and we will get to them during the end, at the end. So question number 3. How do I increase my engagement on social platforms? This one is a more complicated one, but I wanted to include this question. And the very, very simplified answer is how to increase engagement is to be interesting, right? Is to be relevant. And interesting, I know that's very general. However, the reason I use the word interesting, it really depends on your audience. So your goal, your mission is to get to know your audience, right? And there are numerous ways that you can, get to know your audience. You just, one of the things is really pay attention. And if you have customers, you can ask them for feedback. So you have to know very specifically who is your audience. Is it predominantly male? Is it female? Is it a certain age range? Is it, who are these people? Are they mainly college grads? Are they all doctors? I mean, it's very, very specific. So if you don't know who your audience is, like, I feel like a lot of businesses, they say, I'm going to have a business, right? It could be anything, right? It could be a bakery. And if I have a bakery that, let's say, that sells Italian goods, right? It depends where that bakery is, what neighborhood, of course, what neighborhood, what the price range is, what the background of the chef is. Okay, what do those people want? Is it fine ingredients? Is it all organic? So all of those things, it changes. So just because two people have a bakery, it doesn't necessarily mean they are actually serving the same clientele. So in order to increase engagement on your social platforms, you have to really get to know your customers, and you have to do whatever it takes to get to know them. So if you find that people are not engaging with you, it can also be you're brand new, you're starting out, so people don't know you yet and they're getting a feel of it. Then you have to analyze all your different marketing initiatives. So offline marketing initiatives, online marketing initiatives, and see, okay, where can I improve? And that is another way to get engagement up, right? Because when people feel like they're more familiar with you, if they feel that you're actually solving their needs or solving their problems, that will automatically start to increase your engagement. So that question, it is about social media, but as you can see, if you have a business and you're not focusing on who your clients are and what they want, it's really hard to do this, right? It's really hard to have a high level of engagement if you don't really know what it is, who they are, and what they want. So, question number 4. I really don't understand or don't like Twitter. Can I simply skip it and focus solely on Facebook? I know several of you on here have actually been in my Twitter program, so I know you guys are not thinking that, right? So the short answer to this is no. You can't skip something just because you don't understand it, right? You wouldn't do that in school. Like when you go to school, you have to take math, you have to take science, you have to take reading and literature and all those other history and all those other classes, right? You don't get to just skip it. And this is the same way with Twitter. And I feel a lot of businesses are like, they feel very, very comfortable with Facebook. And it is completely fine to feel comfortable with Facebook. That can just be where, okay, I really love the Facebook community and how people engage on Facebook. I could totally understand that. However, I think as a business owner, it's important not to neglect Twitter, because Twitter is actually very, very powerful, because Twitter, unlike Facebook, gives you access to more leads just because of the way it's set up. With Facebook, there's all the privacy, and with Twitter, it's open, right? Unless someone decides, I don't want anyone to see my statuses, so my tweets, I should say. So, but with Facebook, it's much, much harder. With Twitter, you can literally go out there and make connections with virtually anyone. And that is the beauty. And if you don't understand it, you either can hire someone who understands it, and have them take care of that for you, or you can take a program or have your assistant, if you have a bigger business, it's not just you, to take a program like Twitter Results and get that understanding. Because I can say that for me and for my clients, they have actually gotten the biggest results with using Twitter in terms of like making new connections. And that is the power of Twitter, making new connections with people. And it's much harder on Facebook. It's not impossible, but it is harder. So I would definitely say, even if you don't understand it or don't like it, if you really hate it, you can always get someone to do it for you, or show you a different way of doing it, like in the program, or actually hiring someone. But I would definitely not recommend skipping it at all. Question number 5. How can I get new clients from social media? That's a big one, because everyone, that's ultimately the goal, to get new clients, new customers from social media. And the way that you get new clients, new customers from social media is, number one, you have to make sure that your business model, and what you're offering is very clear. What I've seen is that there are a lot of people that are like trying to get business, but I don't really understand what they're trying to get business for. So the first level is really having that level of clarity with your business. And I'm going to that's a whole other story of like how the strategy to get clear as to what you're offering in your business. That's actually something completely different. But you do have to be clear as to what you're offering. What are your services? Are you selling cupcakes? Or are you selling a photography service? Or are you selling yourself as like a musician, right? So what is your service? And you have to be very clear on the services that you offer. So once you're really clear, you have to have very clear channels that take the customers through the buying, through the sales cycle, right? So if you're great at tweeting, right? You're great at tweeting, you're great at Facebook, people are commenting on your stuff, they like your stuff. However, if you have a website that falls short, if you have emails that fall short, then you actually stop at a certain point through that sales funnel, right? So it's really important to get clear about what your exact specific sales funnel is. So if you aren't specific as to what that is and how someone goes from a prospect to being a customer, then you will always have trouble getting clients from social media into your sales funnel. So I hope that makes sense, because a lot of people ask me, how can I get new clients from social media? Just think about it. When you are thinking about buying something from someone, you don't necessarily buy it the first time. But if that person really has a great strategy, that business, I should say, has a great strategy behind how they get you from being a potential customer to being an actual customer, then that's really when social media succeeds. So you can't just only be good at tweets or at Facebook, right? That's just part of the strategy. You actually have to know how you're going to transition people from potential to client, from potential customer to actual customer. So, like I said, I'm planting all these seeds in your minds. If you haven't, some of it you may have heard before, some of it may be brand new, or maybe you never thought about social media in this specific way. So I really want, to demystify social media, because it's not a magic pill. That's what people think. Okay, it's a magic pill. If I'm on Twitter, that's a magic pill. If I'm on Facebook or LinkedIn, that's a magic pill. So if everything else is falling apart around your business and you're just great on Twitter or great on Facebook, that actually leads to a huge problem.